On the evening of their first day of the escort mission, the group tasks Sora to help cook some food because of his amazing skills as a chef. Sora personally had never worked with the ingredients of other people before, and this time, he was also cooking in a bigger pot than usual, hoping it would meet their expectations. Of course, this came with the problem of his inexperience with certain ingredients, but Sora felt confident that his cooking skills would help with that handicap. Sora ended up cooking a spicy soup, earning hearty appreciation from his friends, Chris and Rurika, who, at this point, believed that he could make any dish. Sora stays humble and reveals that he's cooked some more bacon, as the rationed food didn't seem to make them full. Rurika and Chris continue to fangirl over the food, while Sora explains that he had the bacon stored using his storage magic. Rurika questions where he is headed, and Sora explains that he'll go and share some bacon with the rest of the party members, who are also feeling hungry. Chris forms a new appreciation for him because of his kind act. Heading over to the C-ranked party members, Sora greets Syphen, the team leader, and the others. Syphen pulls the boy into the party for a warm meeting as he catches up to the other members. Syphen introduces him to Yuno, who is also his wife, which greatly surprises Sora. Syphen also reveals that they were only discussing the young adventurer. They complimented the boy's walking pace, as he didn't feel exhausted even once during their trip. Sora humbly thanked the group and presented them with some of the bacon that he had prepared. Syphen is taken aback by the boy's generosity, but wonders what bacon is, claiming that they have never had something like it before. Called themselves uncultured in 845 different ways. Syphen takes a bite out of a bacon strip before singing praises about its taste. Syphen claims that a meal as good as this is even beyond the standards of the capital, to the point where he wouldn't mind indulging in it every day. Sora shares that he learned it in the village, where he completed a quest. Ah yes, the classic excuse. Syphen switches the topic and mentions Sora's separation from Rurika and Chris, his current party members. In light of this fact, Syphen openly invites the boy to his party, which catches Sora off guard. Syphen adds that Sora has the will and the physical capability to join their group, not to mention his great cooking skills. He genuinely believes that someone like Sora could make the experience fulfilling for them. Sora returns his appreciation of the compliments he just received, and counters that his experiences with Rurika and Chris have only enlightened him about his own capabilities. That is the reason Sora declares that he will become a solo adventurer until he can learn how to look after himself properly. Sora also thinks that he can join the party after he's trained himself up to that level. Syphen is a little embarrassed that he got rejected, while Sora apologizes for having rejected him. Syphen claims that it's something that only he can decide, while Yuno is fine with the boy changing his mind later on. Sora thanked the party members for their appreciation, and reflected on how cautious he was of the one mysteriously watching him from the shadows. Sora knows that there are many things that he's completely unaware of, which would endanger the lives he surrounds himself with. The rest of the evening was spent in sharing bacon with the adventurers, and hearing bizarre stories about the world he was transported to. Sora and his party members slept, and he paired it with parallel thinking, allowing him to be on guard. 3 more days passed, and they finally reached Alka. Sora reflects that Alka doesn't really have tall structures like the capital city, but he believes it's still unique in its architecture and, overall, a beautiful city. Syphen congratulates his team for their efforts, and explains that they'll be having a day off thanks to the unloading of the cargo. He also mentions that their worries will only worsen from here on out, which means that they should prepare the health potions just in case. Of course, Syphen is left embarrassed once again, because his party members are off on their own without batting an eye at all. Chris and Rurika are happy about their day off, and wonder what they're supposed to do. Sora claims that he's got something in mind. The city of Alka is near the capital city, which is home to merchants who unload and stock up on their goods. Their final destination is the trading city of Feus, while Sora notes how the other adventurers are also leisurely spending time having fun in their own way. For Sora and his party of 3, they come face to face with horse carriages. Sora and his party intend to take care of the horses, which Chris doesn't seem to be looking forward to. Sora explains that he's never seen a horse so close before his eyes, which is why he wanted to try it on a whim. Sora thanks the two for coming along with his selfish demands, despite being tired. Chris claims that she is also interested in horses, while Rurika tells him that they've recovered thanks to a restful sleep. Sora has learned a few things from Dalton, and teaches them how to work with the horses. The first priority is the food, as the horses in this world also fancy carrots. Chris faces difficulty while feeding one, but soon becomes comfortable, to the point that she runs out of carrots in her bag. The three of them continue to feed the animals until they are fulfilled. The second priority is cleaning. Sora splashes a bucket of water on the horse's back and explains that it's necessary to clean them up after their continuous journey of 4 days. Sora and the two girls ensure the horses are in spotless condition. However, the boy knows that it will take quite a bit to clean them this way. Sora channels his cleaning magic and instantly takes care of all the horses. Next, Sora wants to brush them to straighten their fur. Sora observes the strong physique of the horse as he brushes its hair and slowly glides it over its body. Sora finds the activity quite fun and feels that the merchants have been taking good care of the horses. Ruruka and Chris want to join him in the fun and tag along. Sora suddenly notices his little fluffy friend, who also wants to be brushed. Sora nods in rejection to explain that he really can't touch the spirit. The little spirit is devastated by this rejection and floats away in despair. Justice for our favorite fluffball. Sora decides to take out some bacon using his storage magic and secretly offers it to the fairy. The fluffball immediately comes over to munch on the strip with delight before dashing away. The merchant comes over to thank the group for taking such good care of the horses as he hears the animals sounding themselves with joy. Sora claims that it was a good experience, while Ruruka praises the horses for their beauty. The merchant notes that these animals make the perfect partners for humans and offers to try and ride them. Sora is overwhelmed, but Ruruka immediately accepts the offer. The scene switches to them trying out the horses for the first time. The merchant claims that horses are susceptible to human emotions, and the reason they're relaxed is because they have observed Sora's group to be a bunch of kind people. Sora feels pleased with that compliment and observes the beautiful sunny sky, only to glance over at Chris, who looks just as beautiful in his eyes. Sora snaps out of his admiration and states that they should get back. However, Chris's smile doubles down on his embarrassment even more. Bro is down horrendous in love. Sora can't take it anymore and bolts ahead, a request not even his horse can ignore, sensing the boy's flustered state. The following morning, Syphen declares that they are about to continue with the second half of their escort mission. They've got a 6-day trip from Alka to the city of Feus. The party roars in preparation for their incoming journey. In this half, they don't have to travel by foot along with the carts, because most of the goods have already been unloaded to Alka, creating enough space for the rest to ride on the carriages. Sora and his party were in charge of wagon number 3. A number of adventurers sat on top of their wagons to observe and stay on guard for the surrounding area. Sora sits on top of the wagon, surprised that it's not shaking as much as he expected. However, the coachman advises them to expect instability from here on out with their increased pace, as those not used to travel often get motion sick. That's exactly what happened with Sora, Ruruka, and Chris, all three of whom experienced motion sickness upon the sudden shakiness. Sora reflects on having to feel like vomiting from this experience. Suddenly, he finds his nausea to be fading away, eliminating his stomach ache. Sora realizes that it's due to his natural recovery skill that allows him to survive and adapt to the motion sickness. Sora gleams with the confidence of being able to survive the experience. However, it only came back immediately to bite him in the back. Sora desperately hopes for his skill to level up, so he doesn't have to face such experiences in the future. Sometime later, Sora tells the coachman that he and his party members are splitting up right after reaching the trade city of Feus. This information is met by a saddened reaction, as the coachman thinks the boy is lucky to have been traveling with the two girls. 4 days have already passed since they left the city of Alka. Their wagons continued to remain in motion, and there were still 2 whole days remaining until they reached the city of Feus. Sora believed that nothing would go wrong in this smooth journey. However, he suddenly feels alerted by his presence detection skill, as if to sense danger from his right. Sora looks over to find a forest and wants to inform his friends. The problem is that no one other than him knows about his presence detection skill, which makes him second guess his decision to tell them. Bro thinks his secrets are more important than their lives. What the heck? The coachman wonders if Sora has something to say. The boy is faced with a dilemma. He doesn't know if the threat consists of monsters, and also thinks that their enemies might realize that he's wary of them. Sora hopes that someone else will notice the threat without his intervention. The spirit monster suddenly passes right through him, as if to help him decide. Sora realizes that he might jeopardize the safety of the entire party, while he's selfishly thinking about himself. Sora adopts a different approach, and informs Ruruka about his unease regarding the forest. Ruruka is alarmed by his warning, and uses her special eyes to peer into the forest, only to be shaken by what she discovers. Ruruka runs off to inform Syphen, explaining that there are 6 presences approaching them from the side. Syphen initiates a halt, causing the carriages to stop. Syphen announces the arrival of 6 monsters suspected to be wolves and prepares the group for their battle formation. Syphen explains that their utmost priority lies in protecting the safety of the merchants and their horses, with the second priority being cargo, and the final priority being protecting each other's lives. Sora observes the environment and still feels that something is beyond their compression. Using his presence detection skill, Sora can't get a grasp on their odd movements, as if one beast is chasing off the other 5. Uh-oh, boss monster alert. That is exactly the case, as what emerges from the forest is a gigantic monster, chasing off a pack of wolves. The tiger wolf delivers its wrathful jaws on one of the wolves, shocking Syphen's party. It is now known that these wolves are actually fleeing from their giant predator. The pack of wolves makes a sudden stop to save their friend. They muster the courage to lunge forth. However, the tiger wolf easily slams them away using its incredible might. Sora and the others are left shocked by its strength, while the wolves no longer bear the will to fight as they run away. Syphen prepares his group for the attack, signaling the beginner parties to protect the merchants, and leaving the rest to fight off the wolves. The goal is to take them down one by one, while the main party takes care of the tiger wolf. Sora is worried about Syphen and his team, and is wondering if they'll be alright. Syphen tells the boy that their involvement would just become an obstacle for them. He tells Sora to pay close watch to the experienced adventurers. The dude said, "Just watch us whoop these monsters back to the forest." The tiger wolf roars in their presence, ready to attack the humans. Syphen tells Yuno to create the diversions enough for their vanguard to slice the beast. He also compliments his wife, which is enough for her to release an attack against the beast. Next up is their vanguard, who uses the opportunity to slice away the beast, but fails. When the tiger wolf is about to attack him, their shield warrior of a tank chimes in to block the attack. Syphen also contributes to the battle by sneaking up from behind and nearly slashing the beast. This gives them enough of a time window to strike it down with arrows. Sora, Rurika, and Chris are left in amazement at their perfect coordination, which leaves the beast no chance to retaliate. Sora realizes that this is the might of the team, known as Goblin's Grief, a team full of seasoned professionals. The tiger wolf faces the stinging pain of the wound, without showing any signs of retreat. The other party members busy themselves to take care of the other wolves. Rurika thinks that this battle won't last long at this rate, and Sora feels happy to agree with her thoughts. However, the spirit monster has something to inform Sora and acts uneasy, directing his attention to the forest. Suddenly, another pack of wolves jumps out to attack them. Sora saves his friend from the bite of such a beast, leaving them to wonder where the second pack of wolves even came from. Sora deactivated his presence detection skill a while ago, which led to him being careless of his surroundings. Oof. He deactivated his most important skill at the worst possible moment. Rurika musters her swordsman spirit, claiming that they must defend the merchants until the end. They begin tackling the wolves. Rurika leads the charge, while Chris uses her fire magic to support her. Sora also joins in the fight and slashes the wolves. Chris casts her wind magic, taking out the third wolf. Chris and Sora make up for a nice duo together, enough to catch Syphen's attention. Syphen and his party are shocked to catch wind of the second pack of wolves. This moment gives the tiger wolf enough time to retaliate, as it bares its fangs and slams away their tank. The tiger wolf runs full speed to catch Rurika, who is busy with a wolf from the front. Rurika thinks that she is about to meet her end, and Sora appears to block the attack with the might of his blade. Sora is sent flying from the impact of the strike, surprising both Syphen and Rurika as he gets back on his feet. Deathly afraid while confronting the monster, Sora claims that he won't let the tiger wolf hurt his friends, and stands before the tiger wolf. "Our boy is hitting us with that power of friendship real quick." Sora stares down the beast, trembling in his presence. Chris and Rurika worry for him, knowing that his skill is not enough to take on such a monstrous beast. Rurika wants to help him, but the wolves make it harder for her to join the fight. Rurika knows that she can't move away to help the boy, and begs Sora to run away. The boy stands whimpering in fear, knowing that he's got no chance against the beast, even with his appraisal skill. Sora looks over to see Syphen's party running full speed for his rescue, meaning he has to hold on for a few moments until they arrive. My guy knows he's about to get cooked in this fight, and still doesn't run away. What a Chad. Sora puts on a brave resolve to buy some time, while the tiger wolf readies itself to strike him down. Rurika thinks that he shouldn't take the fight, but Sora actually dodges the attack and stands firm, being able to injure the beast's eye as it wails in pain. Rurika is shocked to discover Sora's amazing development, as he shows promising abilities and is capable of holding on to his defense while staying calm. Whoa, dude activated Ultra Instinct. Chris joins Sora in an effort to back him up in this battle. She faces trouble aiming her weapon because of their fast movement. Both Ruka and Chris are shocked to discover Sora's incredible speed as he's maneuvering with high precision against a nightmarish foe. The tiger wolf bears its fangs towards the adventurer, who is evading its strikes, reflecting his ability to survive against such heroes of doom. Sora is proud of his parallel thinking ability, allowing him to concentrate his brain power on predicting the next strike. Sora is carefully noting down even the slightest of movements to dodge the monster's strikes. He glances over to Syphen's group. The members are nearly there, meaning he needs to hold out for a few moments longer. However, his world comes crashing down with the collapse of his body. Sora is overwhelmed by an overwhelming paralysis and realizes that he's just expired all of his stamina points. It is because of his fast evasions that his points are depleted, giving the beast enough of an opportunity to strike him with brutal force, rendering Sora defenseless in the air as he bleeds from the wound. Sora falls to the ground and is about to meet his doom when the shield warrior comes to defend him in time. Syphen's group comes face to face with the creature, aiming to take it down before it spreads its violence beyond the likes of Sora. The tiger wolf howls and judges that it's best to retreat, before turning face and running away back into the forest. Syphen signals for a medic at once and states that they've got their only injured casualty. Chris and Ruka worriedly pace towards Sora, who believes that he did his best to hold off the beast. Sora's consciousness fades into black, and his party members hover over him in worry. Unfortunately, the wounds he suffered from this deadly battle are too close for comfort. Chris is devastated and rushes towards the boy, whose body is gushing out blood at a rapid rate. Ruka hurries to make use of the healing potion and pours it all over his wound. However, it's no use. Ruka and Chris are trembling in fear at the thought of losing their friend. Syphen tells them to step aside, as they have a priest capable of using holy magic for the process of healing. Syphen begs for the priest to save the boy's life. The priest uses his spell, enveloping them in a barrier. Syphen questions if Sora's condition is capable of being healed, only to receive an uncertain response, as the priest tries his best to heal him. All fails when the priest recognizes that Sora's wounds are cut far too deep for the process of healing. The fairy-like creature winces over the boy's condition and slides over his body. The priest feels the touch of the creature before it gleams with a beautiful shimmer of light, leaving the others to be left surprised by the spectacle. The priest is shocked to observe that Sora's wounds are actually closing by themselves and claims that he doesn't even know what's happening. Bro has one job, and he still doesn't do it right. Finally, Sora regains consciousness, and the bleeding stops, and his heart stabilizes. Sora is no longer clasped by the uncertainty of death, while his friends mourn in celebration of the boy's survival. Syphen and another party member carry him back to the wagon to continue their trip. Ruka claims that she'll be keeping watch to inform them of any monsters for the time being. Syphen notes her agitated state and reminds the girl Sora's condition isn't her fault. Ruka feigns ignorance and claims that she is fine. However, the matter disrupts her emotions, and she swears never to let the ones close to her get hurt again. Ruka aims to get even stronger to protect her beloved allies. Their journey continues at last. Syphen notes that Sora's condition has been getting more stable, meaning the boy is only in a state of unconsciousness and does not have much to worry about. Chris glances a relieved look over Sora, who is still asleep. Chris joins Ruka and offers to switch so that she can get some rest. When Ruka tries to put on a brave face, Chris pulls her in, stating that her reflexes have dulled due to her full use of enemy detection skills. Chris scolds her for being reckless, as she values Ruka before sending her off to rest. As for the floating companion that is dear to us all, the little phantom stumbles into Chris. However, this time, Chris can actually see the fairy-like beast, claiming that he's the one who always accompanies Sora. Chris aims to question the startled beast about a number of things. We are shown the perspective of Chris, who, upon first meeting Sora, thought that he harbored an enigmatic personality. Chris was surprised that Sora was from outside the capital and still didn't know about the world of traveling, not to mention his ability to fight off monsters. Chris has also been most wary of the spirit that always followed him along, meaning she could see it from the very first moment. Chris knows that spirits don't stay close to people without any reason, which is why she grew curious about their relationship with the boy. She used her 3000 IQ brain and acted dumb in front of them. No way. Chris talks to the deer spirit and claims that she's not an enemy to be feared. Chris uses her own magic spirit to interact with the fairy and communicate her thoughts. Chris apologizes for acting like she never knew about the beast, as she also kept it a secret from Sora. Chris claims that she understands the spirit's true feelings, as when Sora received his worst injury, the little one stepped in to save his life with devotion, which is what motivated Chris to approach the spirit. Chris asks her most anticipated question, wondering why the little spirit is choosing to follow the boy. The spirit responds in its own language, something Chris tries to comprehend. Chris follows that after lingering in isolation for a long time, the spirit found Sora to be the first human to notice its presence, and became happy about that. The spirit grew attached to Sora as he was an interesting human being, always allowing him to eat delicious meals. Chris finds it hilarious that the spirit could go on and on about his food. This fluffball's got the appetite of an elephant. When the moment of his grave injury came, the spirit also got worried, and felt relieved when Sora regained his life. Chris thanked the spirit for communicating its thoughts, and claimed that there was one way to share its thoughts with Sora. Chris also glances over the concern about the lifespans of spirits compared to humans, as spirits outlive them and usually feel separated with the passage of time. Chris highlights that Sora's time is not permanent, and wonders if it's fine with that. The spirit nods in agreement, leading Chris to explain that it could properly convey its feelings to Sora by forming a contract. Chris also offers the spirit her support for the fulfillment of this process, which the fairy feels grateful about. The scene switches to Syphen and the others, hovering over the unconscious Sora, who begins to open his eyes. The group is left relieved, to the point Syphen carelessly hugs the injured lad, ignoring his condition. If the tiger wolf didn't kill our boy, this guy sure will. Sora, being the selfless adventurer that he is, only asks about the health of his companions, wondering if they were able to chase the beast away. Chris tells him that they are safe because of his courageous efforts, and shares her sentiment with Sora. The boy reflects that he's just made the entire group worry about his health, and apologizes to the lot. Sora still feels dizzied by his condition, and opens his skill tab to find that his health bar is critically low. Even though his stamina points are recovering enormously fast thanks to his natural recovery skill, he still feels the brunt of being tired. Chris states that he looks rather pale, insisting he gets some more rest. Sora feels grateful and aims to rest for a while. 2 days pass until Sora reaches full recovery. It has also been 6 entire days since they left Alka, except the pace of the horse wagons only feels slower. That's because the distance puts a steady strain on the horses, especially during fast travel, leading to a lagging pace that prevents them from tiring out more. Sora got a change of clothes, and finally, they arrived at the trade city of Feus. This city is known as a relay station for many goods, flourishing as the leading city of the kingdom of Alessa. Only next to this city is the town of Alessa, famously known for its mines of minerals and crystals. Sora observes that most citizens don a muscular physique, while Syphen tells them that their escort mission has just come to an end. Even though they had a wolf attack on the way, the party members dealt with it exceptionally well. Syphen claims that after confirmation, they're all done with the business. The merchant is about to hand Sora his letter of confirmation. However, Sora claims that he was knocked unconscious and only stressed out his companions, which is why he doesn't see himself completing the mission. The merchant tells him that the boy jeopardized his own life to protect the others, which is the exact reason he should be worthy of celebration. The merchant explicitly thanks Sora for his valiant efforts against the tiger wolf, and insists that the boy accept the confirmation letter. Sora is taken aback and receives it in kind, proud of his achievement of having completed the escort mission. Rurika and Chris buck him up, while Syphen insists on reporting the attack incident to their guild. Sora wants to tag along, as they also have to collect their rewards, even though Rurika and Chris are worried sick over his health. Sora claims that he is back to full health thanks to his skills. Syphen says that they've got plenty of time as they're going to extend their time in the city for a bit. Wearing a sad expression, Sora questions when he will part with Chris and Rurika. The two answer that their fateful day should have been tomorrow, except they have been completely drained, and want to train with Syphen tomorrow instead. Fast forwarding to their inn, Sora flops into his bed, observing the interior of the inn to be no different from Ollie's inn. Sora remembers their walk from the capital to the city of Feus, and believes that his status might have increased. However, when he opens his status window, Sora finds that he's yet to level up because of the increased requirements. On a separate note, Sora shivers from the memory of the tiger wolf, claiming that working alone is a difficult line of work, which makes Wonder to be more careful in the future. Sora declares his need to become even stronger to protect himself. He wants to go to sleep, but feels saddened by the phantom's late absence. Sora regrets that he doesn't have a way to contact the spirit himself, and thinks that he will come back eventually. Spending their second day in the city of Feus, they reunited and headed straight to the Adventurers Guild. Ruka and her companions are impressed by the coordination of Syphen's Goblin's Grief team. Despite being just a C-ranked party, Ruka is excited about the shield warrior who always jumps over to protect the people on the front lines. She hopes to spar with him someday, and keeps repeating the phrase on their way. When Sora arrives at the Adventurers Guild, Sora and his friends find the guild to be smaller than the one situated in their capital. They meet Syphen, who tells them that there will be a search party to hunt for the tiger wolf. That's because they only allowed the beast to run away in light of the escort mission, except the road for travel is quite an important trade route, and could compromise the safety of others. That is the reason they have to hunt for the beast. Syphen also claims that they are going to be part of the search party and participate in the operation. Sora is impressed hearing this news and asks when they'll be heading out. Syphen claims that they're currently preparing a strategy session that will take effect in 10 days. Struck by the opportunity, Ruka immediately requests Syphen to help train them tomorrow. Syphen fancies the idea and accepts the thought of conducting sparring matches, bringing joy to Ruka's face. The following day, they arrived at the guild's training arena. Sora charged in his battle against Syphen, who was reflexively blocking his movements before finding an opening to defeat him. Sora is left in awe of Syphen's strength, while his superior advises the boy to deploy better feint strikes if he wants to beat him. Syphen praises Sora for his ability to withstand the tiger wolf, calling it an impressive feat. Ruka, with her dual blades, fights against the shield warrior, even though she can't get a clean hit and seems to be in a pickle. The shield warrior compliments her swift agility and thinks that her speed will outclass most of her enemies. However, he finds her attacks lacking in power, rendering her defenseless against gigantic monsters or people with defensive tactics. She is told to train her stamina, which would help enable Ruka to unlock new realms of power in a drawn-out battle. After their training session, Sora and his group discuss the might of the C-ranking party, as neither of them could land a single hit. Chris was training with the incredible Yuno, while Sora brought their attention to the guild members who were queuing to spar against Syphen and the others. Chris says that their popularity matches their strength. Sora sidetracks the topic and asks about their plans, as he intends to rest for a while before taking a quest for medical herbs. Chris is excited and wants to tag along, but Ruka is in a reflective state, voicing her plans to train for a while longer. She leaves the two lovebirds to go along on this journey. Sora heads off with Chris before turning back to notice Ruka's determined, yet worried face. A while after that, Chris and Sora gathered the medical herbs of their quests and discovered some other plants for potions. Chris kept him busy by dumping information about magic, and the two had a lot of fun. However, Sora couldn't help but be bothered by the look on Ruka's face when they left the training area. Chris uses his storage magic to store away all the herbs, and inquires Chris if she feels anything off about Ruka. Chris also noticed the feeling, and stated that Ruka is burdened by a heavy sense of responsibility, which is eating her alive, especially after Sora's injury against the tiger wolf. Sora claims that it wasn't even her fault, calling himself weak in the process. Sora thinks that they should buy Ruka something nice to eat as a reward for her valiant efforts towards training, an idea Chris also agrees with. After buying enough food, comprising Ruka's favorite orc meat, they plan to hold a dinner party for Ruka. Chris claims that she's definitely hungry as a result of her training and would appreciate such a meal. When Chris and Sora return to her room, they are surprised to note that she's nowhere to be found. Chris finds it strange because she's back home at that time and wonders if something went wrong. Sora claims that Ruka might still be at the training grounds and runs off solo to look for her. Sora enters the guild and descends into the training area, only to find an exhausted Ruka covered in dirt and sweat. Sora shouts her name to call for her attention, and advises her to go home. Ruka's trembling body readies her sword in the hopes of prolonging her training. However, her body gives out long before she is able to strike, as she falls to her knees. Sora is there to take care of Ruka and advises her to rest. After she has regulated her breathing, Sora allows her a chance to confide in him, questioning her feelings of anxiety. Ruka apologizes to him without adding much. Sora reminds her that he only got hurt because of his own mistakes, and believes that it was what he chose by enlisting himself as an adventurer. Ruka pauses to consider his words, before uttering her sense of fleeting self-worth as a warrior. Ruka feels an incredible fear passing over her body, not knowing what could endanger their lives any day. Rurica also knows that after leaving the city, she will be left to herself to protect Chris, and is frightened to think that she will fail to protect her because of her own weaknesses. Sora considers her words, labeling her a kind person and being grateful for Rurica's constant worry. He tells Rurica that Chris has become a formidable warrior herself, capable of protecting herself with her powers. Sora admits that he has learned a lot from his experiences with Rurica and Chris. Rurica claims that Chris is the only person who knows her true face, someone who deeply cares for her. It is because of Chris' importance that he is stroking Rurica's deepest fears and anxieties. Sora smiles and claims that her kind efforts are evident in her actions. Sora advises her not to shoulder everything as a single person and to rely on her friend. He thinks that by trusting each other, they'll mutually protect each other as well. Gaining newfound resolve, Rurica smiles and agrees with his thoughts. Sora brings Rurica back to their inn, shocked by the artistic decor that Chris has readied for their meal. Rurica is happy to be around her friends and enjoys meals with the ones she cherishes the most. The three of them are full to the brim after the meal. Sora once again ponders when Chris and Rurica are going to leave. Rurica shares that before Syphen's search party subjugation, the prices for their potions will rise, which is why they want to stock up on them as soon as possible. Sora butts in to reveal that he now has the knowledge of alchemy, surprising both Chris and Rurica, who are shocked by his gain in skills. Rurica has her eyes set on gold, but Sora turns her down, stating it's out of his capabilities. Imagine he learns how to form gold in the future, there is an infinite money glitch right there. Sora wants to give them a visual demonstration of the skill and puts forward the herbs they gathered from their quest. Sora takes the herbs and clasps them between his hands, only to reveal a magical potion from inside. Rurica and Chris are shocked to witness the unique magic trick that has taken place right before their eyes. Sora experimented with his alchemy skill and gained further insight into its nature. He claims that it's unusable if he doesn't have enough ingredients or his level is lacking in progress. When he does use the skill successfully, it costs him mana points and the used ingredients are gone forever. With his increase in skill level, Sora will be capable of creating higher quality products. With his skill level increase, Sora also increased the quality of his potions. At his current skill level, he can't build a stronger potion than a normal quality one. Chris and Rurica still find themselves impressed and realize that it's a potion of generous quality. Sora believes that it's quite average according to his skill level, but Rurica observes that the potion is actually darker than usual, which signifies a higher quality product, which means he could sell it for a higher price. That's when Sora wonders how good his quality of products would be if he gets even better at alchemy. Sora also shows them the dozens of magic potions he has already created beforehand. He wonders if this amount is going to be enough to aid them on their quest. Sora wants to return the favors of Rurica and Chris, who, at this point, have done a lot for him. Rurica and Chris refuse to accept his gift, causing the boy to be saddened. Rurica tells him that they can't accept the valuable gift and feel happy because of the thought itself. Sora wonders what he should do and claims that he has a request for them to fulfill, with the potions being the reward. When asked about the request, Sora reluctantly states that he wants Rurica and Chris to accompany him to the mines. Sora claims that he's looking for a specific crystal, as he's already been interested in the mines. Sora is wary of the various monsters that are home to such mines, except they're not too strong in such mines, allowing them to enter as a party. Sora also thought about purchasing the crystal at the store, but he wants to obtain it for himself, and wants the two to tag along with him. Rurica and Chris joyously accept his offer, believing it to be a nice workout. Sora thanked the two and got on with their plan. The front and back journey to the mines of Alessa takes 3 days. Because of this duration, they settle on keeping a single inn room to cut down on their expenses. Rurica continues to tease Sora, who knows that she's doing this on purpose. Sora uses this as the perfect opportunity and confidently states his response, which is enough to reduce Chris to a flustered mess. Sora also faces a similar reaction and is left embarrassed, while Rurica continues to make fun of both, playing the third wheel and the Cupid at the same time. Leaving the city of Feus, they hurried their way to the mining town of Alessa. The mine chefs bedazzle Sora, while the other two are deathly exhausted because of the journey. The town of Alessa is built directly into the mountain, and only a handful of people walk around for their jobs. Rurica ushers for them to find an inn to rest. However, an eccentric, strange inn owner offers them to stay at his place. He claims that most of his rooms are empty, making it pretty hard for his business to continue. He is also willing to give them a free discount, which is enough to convince Sora and his friends. When asked about their intentions, Sora claims that they're here for mining, only to realize that they're speaking to the mining supervisor. Sora and his friends make themselves comfortable at the inn and, only the next morning, continue their journey to the mine. Sora dons a happy smile, visible enough to catch the attention of his friends. Sora states that he feels genuinely happy because he expected them to split up after arriving in the city of Feus, and yet they're on another adventure once more. Sora is inexperienced with the nature of the mines, and finds the ground to be more rugged than usual. Rurika notes that his shoe soles are actually worn down, and highlights that he'll worsen his condition at this rate. Sora reflects that because of his walking ability, he didn't even notice himself getting hurt, which is one of the downsides of his skill. Sora and his friends come to witness a hall of different tunnels marked with different numbers. Sora is left shocked when he notes the spirit phantom floating around. The phantom points towards a specific cave. Sora catches the signal and gestures to his friends to traverse the path. The place is dimly lit, because the light from the outside doesn't reach inside. Suddenly, Rurika screams as she finds the prankster slime manifesting before them. This monster is capable of altering its size at will, and also plays tricks on the people entering the mines. Sora prepares his weapon with Chris and Rurika as they are about to slay this slime with their coordinated attacks. Sora and his friends face their first battle in the mines against the prankster slime. The slime unleashes its acidic attacks, while Rurika initiates her first strike. Chris uses her wind magic to confuse the beast, enabling Sora to descend with his powerful blade, ripping apart the slime monster in one clean slash. Sora and his party members have just defeated the beast, while Rurika claims that he's gotten more certain of his moves. Their training with the C-ranking party was worth the hassle as they moved along their path. Rurika wonders how deep they have to traverse through the mines, as their passage has only been getting narrower. Sora trusts the fairy and insists that they continue for a while longer. Chris also finds the exploration a bit fun, agreeing with Sora's idea. Stepping further ahead into the mines, Sora channels his appraisal ability to inspect the surrounding rocks, finding them to be ordinary. Sora reflects on how he's used the appraisal skill numerous times in the mine, only to find nothing going for him. Sora wonders if it is weak against ores or if his skill level is too low. The group stumbles across a dead end, but Sora's spirit gestures as if to point to something important. Sora uses his appraisal skill and shockingly detects numerous objects from behind the wall. Sora calls for them to start digging. With enough digging, Sora spots the first crystal and uses his appraisal skills. The rock is a magic crystal, something they don't have much information about. Sora wants to dig the other ones as well. After a while, they collect a bunch of crystals and magic stones. Sora only wanted to look for the magic crystals, except they found both by chance. Sora thinks that he might just be able to buy the ore by trading it for money. Sora wants to thank the spirit, who has once again disappeared without saying a word. Nah, now I want one, too. This fluffball is too overpowered. Chris's stomach is grumbling for food, which Sora uses as an opportunity for them to have lunch. They find the experience unique in the mines, as it's just the three of them in a confined area. The three decide to head back after completing their mining quest. Out of the Alessa mine, Sora and his friends celebrate the completion of their quest as they reach the surface. The mining supervisor is surprised to meet them so fast and becomes shocked to take notice of their collected stones. Sora claims that they're not well versed in minerals and would prefer an inspection. When the mining supervisor begins to appraise their stones, they're left completely astounded. Sora wonders if what they have mined is truly so amazing, while Rurika and Chris claim that they've seen such stones at the jewelry stores in the royal capital. The mining supervisor begs for them to share the details about the location. Sora claims that they found it on path number 6, recalling the spirit's help in this quest. The mining supervisor takes their contact information and intends to reward them for the stones. Rurika butts in to explain that it was all Sora's work that led to this. The mining supervisor is also surprised to note that they're all adventurers, and tells them their reward will be delivered directly to the guild. Sora is about to leave with his stash of stones, but the mining supervisor begs them to sell the crystals instead. Sora tells him that he needs to keep at least 10 magic crystals to himself, along with some other details. The mining supervisor counters an even better offer with a spike in price. Rurika and Chris believe that it's a good deal, and encourage Sora to make the deal. Sora accepts the deal at last, and after spending another night at the inn, they are ready to head back to the city of Feus. Sora claims that they also didn't get charged for their stay thanks to the deal. Sora feels happy to share the benefits of the deal with his friends, while Chris looks towards the sky and claims that it's about to rain. Sora is surprised because the sky is actually sunny. Urarka tells Sora that her predictions are eerily accurate, and the rain around this area falls abruptly. Sora reflects that he hasn't even seen rain pouring before his eyes ever since he arrived in this world. This calls for trouble as they need to head back before the storm. However, Sora is left weakened because his walking ability doesn't apply to running. The storm clouds suddenly hover over them, while Sora continues his slow pace. They navigated through the rain, completely drenched by the time they returned to the city of Feus. Sora's crystal mining journey with his party finally came to a fruitful end, collecting materials and enjoying their experience along the way. The rain lasted for another 3 days, even over the city of Feus. The inmate brings Sora new sheets and claims that the rain has lasted for a surprisingly long period of time. The following day, Sora and his companions are left in awe of the beautiful rainbow. Sora feels happy to be stepping foot outside again. Sora is off to gather some herbs, leaving Urarka and Chris for provision shopping. Sora stumbles deep into the forest, and after not sensing any presence nearby, he calls for the spirit. Because the spirit refuses to appear, Sora uses his spatial magic and baits it using bacon. The spirit instantly munches on the snack, while Sora claims that he wants to gather herbs for a conversation with the spirit. Sora has, in fact, prepared a barbecue feast of the spirit's preferred wolf meat for its contributions. The adorable spirit can't resist the flavor and joins in eating with Sora, happily enjoying the flavor of the meat melting in their mouths. Sora also believes that the spices of this city elevate their meals to another level. He prepares another meal full of veggies for them to enjoy. Sora feels pleasant about eating outside, and notes that the spirit surprisingly has a large appetite for its small size. The spirit remembers Chris's words about forming a contract with Sora, and floats nearby to cuddle with him. Sora wonders what's bothering him. The spirit does its best to communicate, bouncing and rolling in many different directions to offer him a sign. However, Sora thinks that the little spirit is only asking for more food, and calls him a glutton. The spirit is left disappointed and turns away, rejecting Sora's delicious pile of food. Sora chases after the moody spirit in an effort to catch up. Back at the inn, Urarka and Chris are finished packing. Urarka claims that they need to prepare some food rations to finish off the last bit of preparations. Sora knows that the upcoming day is also the day of their separation. Sora wants to shop with them to make the experience even more meaningful. On their way to shopping, Urarka wants to head over to the provisions shop. They're also interested in buying a small pot. Suddenly, Urarka remembers that Gitz, the shield warrior, is holding an exclusive seminar for the guild members. Urarka feels the urgency to join the seminar, which lasts until nightfall, which means her plans to shop with the group have been thwarted. Sora and Chris don't take issue with her request, and allow her to enjoy the seminar. Before leaving, Urarka warns them not to chase after them no matter what, since the seminar is going to last until late at night. She also teases Chris and Sora about spending time alone, which makes both of them embarrassed as they ponder the thought of going out on a date. They end up at the grocery store after facing many difficulties. Chris and Sora end up buying a lot of food, along with the small pot Chris wanted. After completing their only errand, they have no idea where to go now. Sora and Chris are both too shy to take the first step. But ultimately, Chris states that she wants to go shopping for some clothes. Sora takes her to a mall where she tries on a few dresses, dazzling the likes of Sora, who is too perplexed to even look. After their shopping, Sora tripped over the worn-out sole of his shoe, which is enough of a reason for them to stop by the shoe store. Sora wants to buy a reliable pair of shoes and spare shoes for insurance. The store lady gives him the shoes and wishes them well on their journey. She also tells them to join the Mineral Festival of Feus, which takes place only once a year. After that, Sora and Chris converse about the festival, and they want to add Urarka along until they remember her warning. Sora thinks that it's best for the two to go on their own. They aim to find a quieter spot, according to the shopkeeper. Sora and Kais arrive on the main street to find various crystals hung all over, which are supposed to glow at night. The bustling crowd is also continuing to grow. Chris gently tries to take his hand, but hesitates and retreats at the final moment. Chris musters her resolve before grabbing his sleeve, enough to embarrass the both of them as they grow their relationship under the illuminated crystals. Arriving at the spot the store owner told them about, Sora and Chris are left mesmerized to take note of the beautiful city of Feus, as even with the people tumbling about in the streets, they don't hear any noise from this spot. In fact, it is the calling of nature that brightens their experience. Sora thinks that it's so quiet that he can even hear his heartbeat, something that he believes even Chris might be able to hear. They sit under the night sky, while Sora faces difficulty in expressing his words. Chris makes it easy for him by opening up and claiming to be an avoidant person who suppresses her emotions at all times because of her lack of self-confidence. That is also why she is seen as a timid girl, and the reason she puts Rurica ahead. Chris claims that she was faced with much anxiety after forming a party. Although she was happy to travel along with them, she thought that Sora would soon grow tired of her. Chris states that she was muddied in her own feelings without trying to understand Sora as a person, who has always shown appreciation to both her and Rurica as equals. Chris confesses that his sincerity helped her overcome needless overthinking, finding her all sorts of feelings to express. Chris finds Sora to be a wonderful person who helped her mature into a brighter person, and he is grateful for his involvement. Sora is left flustered and tells her that she's always been kind and beautiful from the get-go. After her confession, Sora states that he's also not an honest person, as he's kept his own secrets. Chris reminds him that they've got secrets of their own, which turns into a petty competition of secrets for a brief moment. Sora and Chris share a laugh before he reflects on his sorrowful desire to keep traveling with Rurica and Chris. Sora wants to eat with them and fight by their side. However, he knows that someone is constantly watching over him. Although he has no information about this ominous watcher, he knows that Rurica and Chris will be harmed because of its involvement. Chad 1100 doesn't want to endanger their lives for his own selfishness. Sora gathers strength and begins to speak, advising Chris to take care of herself and Rurica. He knows that he can't contribute to them as much at the moment and will be hoping for the best on the sidelines. Chris, on the other hand, can see right through the boy's feelings. She's certain that he has some important reason for not joining along, and also knows that it might have to do with their safekeeping. That is why she doesn't want to engage selfishly and beg him to come along on a dangerous journey, which is why Chris happily accepts the boy's harmless lie. Oof, the girl knows him too well. As if to stop themselves from confessing their feelings, Chris and Sora bid each other the best of luck on their journeys, leaving the matters of their hearts quiet in their own beings. Alexa, play sad music in the background. With the morning approaching, daily life in the city resumes as usual, in complete contrast to the spectacle of the previous night. Today just happens to be the day of their separation. Rurica and Chris wrap up their final preparations and hear a knock from their favorite visitor. Sora has come to greet them good morning and knows that they'll be heading out by noon. Chris has a parting gift for the boy, a diary of her notes with information regarding magic. Sora is happy to receive such a detailed piece of writing, while Rurica emphasizes that she worked every day to write up a few notes for him. Sora is left amazed and states that he's also got something for them, before revealing a shiny stone. Sora actually used his acquired magic crystals and his alchemy skills to create a transmitter device. The tool allows them to pour mana inside the stones, informing them of the other's directions. Sora also reminds them that they've got a usage limit of 5, but it would greatly help them find their friends even faster. Rurica and Chris are astonished by the unique device, having never seen such a unique craft before. Rurica believes that it's a better replacement than the message services at their guilds. Sora uses his alchemy skills and forms a necklace for them as well. Sora proceeds to put it on Chris, guaranteeing his friend's safety. The party arrives near the carriage headed for the Beast Kingdom of Ras. Finally, Sora bows in gratitude to the two adventurers for having helped him so much. Sora claims that he would have gotten stuck on his own, with endless errands in the capital, but it is because of them that he could travel and experience moments unlike any other. Rurica and Chris return their words and thank him for the same. Sora bids a final farewell to his precious companions before they turn their backs to head towards the carriage. Faced with hesitation and regret, Sora declares that he will become much stronger on their next encounter so that they can go on endless adventures once again. His precious companions voice their agreement, leaving Sora to see their carriage off, as their paths separate for the time being. Like the video down below to show some love for this wholesome party. Returning back to the kingdom of Alessa and inside the royal castle, the king informant issues his most anticipated report as of yet. The king overviews the progress of the Sword King, the Paladin, and the Master Swordsman, as they were the heroes, along with Sora, who was called into this world. Their abilities have improved to the point that they can fight actual monsters now. The king is happy with this development, and believes their last set of heroes was lame compared to these. Bro said they were washed as hell. He also feels shocked to learn that the saint, who was deemed the weakest of the heroes, is now considered the church's most skilled. The informant explains that the saint didn't miss a single day of training and continued to perfect her skills, catching the attention of many inside the church. The king doesn't feel threatened by her journey to the Holy Kingdom, but insists his servant keep a close eye on them. On the report of the Sorcerer King, they can't find any spirit magic wielders, which is why her training has been halted for the time being. The king roars at his servant for delivering such an unimpressive report. Finally, he comes to the case of the failure, the boy who left the capital, Fujimiya Sora. The servant explains that Sora has been traveling with 2 adventurers, and they're keeping an eye on them with level D strictness. They've observed his fickle battle against the goblins, and also found that he got himself greatly injured by a tiger wolf, which makes him appear like a total failure. However, they have also observed that Sora is capable of unique abilities, including his sword skills, bumping up in strength, and his ability to walk without feeling any stress. The king deems him a failure, but also thinks that he might just be receiving an awakening. The king orders his servant to monitor the boy, as even though he's a garbage defect, he is summoned to his kingdom. He also issues a strict order to kill Sora if, at any point, he plans to cross the border. Meanwhile, Sora is left observing the night sky from his bedroom, thinking about the smiles of his beloved companions. Sora doesn't want to wallow in despair, and knows that he has his own fair share of problems to solve. Sora abruptly opens his status window, which ends up startling the little spirit. Sora observes that his appraisal skill has actually leveled up to 9, allowing him to read the job descriptions. Sora realizes that he can't change the job after selecting it once, until he achieves a certain level of walking ability. Sora has many options to choose from and thinks about the occupation of an alchemist. At last, his system declares him an alchemist, which is the first job he's officially acquired, after being part of this world. Sora observes his options for possible creations, only to be stunned by the choice of creating a pistol. He is shocked because he doesn't know how such a weapon could even exist in this world. He remembers his difficult battle against the tiger wolf, and thinks that it is best to give his ability a chance. Sora combines some of his iron and magic ores, channeling his magic to course through both objects before manifesting a gun right before his eyes. Sora knows that it is a gun, and feels different from holding a sword. Congratulations, my boy, you just unlocked the only weapon you needed. It is his first experience with the gun, and he wants to be cautious about it. Sora decides to store away the lethal firearm in his storage magic, hoping he doesn't need it anytime soon. He falls to his bed, while the spirit sneaks over to rest beside him. The spirit utters its first word, which Sora is startled by as he checks his surroundings. That's when Sora realizes that the spirit has just murmured its first word, before vanishing away into thin air. After his day of separation from Rurika and Chris, Sora booked a carriage ride back to the royal capital. Because of the overflow of carriages, his carriage was supposed to leave in 5 days, which concerned Sora about how he should spend these days. Sora looked at the guild's request board and decided to gather some herbs. He went into the forest and believed that this was a useful quest for alchemy. Back to the guild, Sora delivers and unloads his heavy bags of collected herbs. He brings the same on the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 4th, and even the 5th day. Sora becomes solely responsible for temporarily suspending the herb gathering quests, as he has met the entire month's quota in the span of 5 days. Sora realizes that he overdid the quest requirements, while Syphen comes to greet the boy. Syphen knows that Sora is no longer a part of Rurika and Chris, and tells him that he'll be rooting for his journey. Sora inquires about the subjugation of the mission, regarding the tiger wolf, which was postponed for a while, but will be picked up again tomorrow. Sora and Syphen are eager to spend their final night together before their eventual departure. Syphen throws a party with Sora and the others. The guild members vouch for Syphen's support regarding his upcoming subjugation mission. They also take note of Sora, the boy who had his sparring match against Syphen, and displayed his swift moves in the process. Completely drunk, Syphen invites Sora outside for another sparring match. They take their positions with the guild members supporting the 2 fighters. Sora charges ahead with his powerful advance, surprising Syphen with his array of sword strikes. Yuno takes note of the boy's impressive skills against Syphen, as he's slowly keeping up with Syphen's moves. Sora finds an immediate opening and tries to attack, but his attack is blocked by Syphen, who believes that he's far too obvious in his moves. The surprising part comes right after, as Sora used the first move to bait, allowing for a second slash. Syphen immediately gets serious and slashes away his sword, ending the battle in Sora's defeat. Syphen is astonished by Sora's final attack, and even though it failed, He is proud of the boy for improvising in his advances. Syphen emphasizes that Sora will end up surpassing them all, so long as he continues to improve by capitalizing on learning from his mistakes. Whoa, that's some high praise. Comment down your favorite moment from this story so far. With the outcome of their sparring match, they had a long party fading into the night. Sora managed to hear many stories from the people and only became excited about his journey ahead. On the mountain pass in the Beast Kingdom of Ras, Rurika and Chris sit by the fireside near the border of the kingdom. Chris wonders if the little spirit is doing fine, as he has been trying to practice speaking words to deliver a message to Sora. However, those words consumed immense energy for the spirit, making him faint each time. Chris knows that the spirit is bearing a burden just to communicate with Sora, but it continues its efforts every night without signs of defeat. That's when Chris knew that the spirit greatly valued Sora. She prays for the little one's feelings to reach Sora's heart. Back in the city of Feus, Sora sits in his room with his necklace, reading Chris' notes about magic. He realizes that magic is elementally divided into 6 types, including those of light and darkness. Chris specializes in fire and wind magic, which is why she detailed them the most. He also discovers a note about spirit magic and wonders if Chris acquired this information from Eris, her missing elf friend. Apparently, spirit magic requires a contract with a spirit, as it's a type of magic that is rare. Such spirits have different personalities and are revered as gods in some places, reminding Sora of his time in the village. The intentions of such spirits are unclear. However, some of them merely choose to establish contracts with humans on their journey. Sora tries his best to understand how to form a contract, but he is unable to comprehend the writing. The spirit suddenly surprises Sora, nearly uttering the word contract. Startled, Sora finally realizes that the spirit has been trying to form a contract with him all along. The spirit cuddles him, as he has finally understood its intentions. The two are determined to form a contract, except Sora has no idea how. The spirit does its best to communicate, mustering all of its energy to state that a name is required. The spirit wobbles to the floor, which is enough to tell Sora that speaking words exhaust the little fluff ball. Sora wonders what kind of name he should go for, as he hasn't ever named something before. At first, he comes up with the word Shiro, which translates to white based on its appearance. The spirit is devastated to hear such a corny name, urging Sora to try for another. Sora spins for Dark Assassin and Midnight Judgment, both of which are appalling names that are met with rejection and disgust by the spirit. Sora tries again, recalling his memories in 8th grade. Sora, at the time, was learning English in his class. He tried to translate his name into other languages and found many translations. Sora drops several of those names, including Seal, which catches the attention of the fluff ball. Sora is surprised that the spirit takes a liking to the name, which is actually the same name as his own. Sora finds it embarrassing but knows that the spirit likes the name, and he declares that he will be called Seal from now on. Seal touches his hand before radiating brightly, as if something is about to happen. Surprisingly, nothing changes about Seal's appearance. However, Sora can feel the weight of the creature and realizes that the spirit has become tangible upon the establishment of their contract.